Hi, welcome to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Thanks for joining the conversation. It's the Mimi and Greg Show live at Rose City Comic Con. It was so amazing to sit next to Greg for the podcast for a change instead of being on Zoom. We had a blast just rolling right into the show as we waited for the audience to trickle in. We were joined by surprise guests, friends of Rucka, and the entire show becomes a project management panel. Fans of The Forged, Black Magic, and anything Greg Rucka, listen on to the madness. I am grateful for Greg's friendship, and having his presence in my life has been a blessing. It was amazing to catch up with him in person, share a meal with his family, and getting to know his friend circle more intimately. Greg's booth always had a line, and it was nice to visually see the love everyone has for him and his work. If you have not yet started reading anything by Mr. Greg Rucka, please do. Pick up any of the mentioned comics in this show and enjoy. This episode was recorded on September 23rd, 2023, live at Rose City Comic Con. My favor, as usual, is to please continue to share this podcast with others. It would also mean so much if you would rate it and leave me feedback. If you would like to help keep this podcast going and support the work I do, visit my website or patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to become a patron of the show. For comments or suggestions, reach out on social media at SifuMimiChan. Now, on with the show.
Worst thing about wearing masks and glasses,
Yeah.
so they mess up your glasses. Thank you. I think I'm okay for the moment, but I appreciate it.
Wow.
I brought stuff with me. I have it at the table, so.
Just open that.
I totally realized that, like, you should have asked, like, people like Fraction and Bendis and Kelly.
I did.
Oh dear. Oh, God.
I did.
You're like Mike's low-hanging fruit.
I asked a lot of people. I told a lot of people we would be here and whether,
Yeah, so what happened was that Milk-Fed Criminal Masterminds, which is Matt Fraction and Kelly Cedikonic's company, put a whole lot of effort into their panels, right? Like their game shows and things like that. And I don't. And this leads to a potential inferiority complex, a concern. And I do not knock them putting that effort into it. I think that's lovely. I don't have the energy to do that. So when Mimi was like, well, we have to do a thing, I was like, no, we don't. We just do what we normally do. It's the podcast live. She'll ask a question and I'll talk for 20 minutes. I mean, if you've heard the podcast, that's pretty much what happens. And somewhere in there, I'll get really upset about something.
And the Rucka rant.
And I'll swear. Yeah. And that's where you'll know. You missed a live rant on the floor today.
Oh.
Yeah.
I missed a live rant on the floor. I was at the Visible Women booth helping out with Kelly Sue's.
And Visible Women, I trust. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, no, you were doing something much more worthwhile. I had somebody come up and ask what I thought of the strike, the WGA strike, and I was like, and I did not say, but it was like, your tone indicates that you may be one of those individuals who feels that this is a bunch of privileged people demanding something they do not have a right for. And so I had to explain to them the economics of what it means, the new one that is being bandied around, right? And it's even going through the UAW now. It's like, oh, they want to make $100,000 a year.
That's not much.
Why is that a problem, number one? And number two, shouldn't they? And number three, as you just pointed out, that's not a lot. So they go, well, a writer gets $100,000 for 10 weeks of work. It's like, That's the only job they're going to get for 2 years. They don't get 100,000. They get 85,000 because 15% is taken by their management. Then however much they're going to lose to taxes, then divide that by 2. Now imagine supporting your family on that. Right? That's not a living wage. But spin it the right way. Man, 100 grand for 10 weeks of work? That'd be great. We'd all love that. Because 52 weeks of work, that'd be over $500,000. You're not going to get employed for 52 weeks. It's 10 weeks of work. And it's actually not 10 weeks of work. It's 20 weeks of work. They're only paying you for 10 of it. So, yeah.
And so we're starting off with the Rucker Rants, everybody. This is what you came for.
That's the pre-rant.
It's the pre-roll rant.
Aren't you glad you arrived early?
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
They know they don't want to miss one word of the Rucker Rant
it's a
because
pre-rant.
It's epic. Yeah.
So
we should have coordinated. I wore that shirt yesterday, and now now.
That might be why I wore it today.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we wouldn't have that embarrassing moment.
I wanted to be twinsies, though.
Oh, you should have told me.
Cute, right?
You should have told me.
Mimi and Greg twinning.
We'll wear our AMPTP shirts tomorrow. I have extras.
It's been interesting, actually. Just before we actually get started, is I'm here under a lot of different hats. In my panel this morning, it's, there's a lot of kids there. And so I'm like, yes, the animated princess, whatever. But as you know, we are supporting in solidarity, SAG-AFTRA is the union I'm with and WGA, and it is what it is. And it's absolutely necessary. So 100% it is.
Here's this is if you guys do not think that there, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. I love this one. Did you see yesterday this Stephen Fry news?
No, I saw no news yesterday. I was at this Rose City Comic-Con thing.
Yeah, so Stephen Fry recorded the audio versions for all of the Harry Potter novels, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's his voice saying a lot of the English language. Apparently he discovered, I think it was yesterday or the day before the news broke, that his voice had been AI scraped to provide narration for a documentary without his consent or permission or any of that. Literally just somebody sent to him, hey, Stephen, did you know? And he went rightfully ballistic. Now, that's Stephen Fry's voice. Let's talk about image rights. Let's talk about taking the image of somebody off of the internet and putting it on somebody else's body. Let's talk about taking the picture of a minor posted in somebody's family photos on Facebook and attaching that to certain pieces of photography or video or art out there, right? People have no say in that. This is a real problem. Hello, gentlemen.
Are you really?
Yeah, I know. You're not. I started early.
We just had some ranting to get
It was
going
a pre-rant.
It was a pre-rant.
We had a pre-rant.
To the regular rant.
We had a
that will be
ramp-up
coming.
rant.
Yes. Everyone's here for the Rucker Rant, which is...
God, I hope not. I mean, I really hope not. They're vaguely embarrassing. You know that I find them vaguely embarrassing.
No.
Yeah, I really do, because the difference is when you and I are talking on the podcast, it's just you and me.
Well, they're not actually here.
Oh, right, you're all figments.
We're that tired that we think there's an audience right now and there's a laugh track.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
we're all AI, there's AI audience.
Out! But, honestly, that's part of the reason why I say so many ill-considered things. So at this point, it's just like, it's just Mimi and I having a talk. What do you mean she recorded it and put it on the internet?
And then a week later, the rest of the world knows.
Yeah, it's like, and then it was worse to realize, oh my God, she's putting them up on YouTube, which means there's video attached. Now I need to start making sure I'm wearing a clean shirt and,
Well,
I'm trying to remember all the times I picked my nose.
Now,
and
to be fair,
like
some of the fans, especially in the Discords, it would be really nice if we could see the Rucker Rants and see you guys. And I was thinking, want to see us? Because isn't it enough?
Why?
A lot to hear us already. It's so much. But then I was like, well, I mean, I'm recording anyway, so why not? And then, so now we have people watching, as you say, but I think some people watch it on YouTube, but it's like on their desktop while they're doing other things. No. And so, it just kind of feels like we're in the room with them, which must be very comforting with your morning tea. Not really, but yeah. Anyway, so we can go. We can actually.
Yeah, we can
hello.
Hello, Mimi.
It's the Mimi and Greg Show live. Which is really interesting because
sound like there are more of you. Come on.
There we go. Thank you. The last time we did a live interview was in your living room.
Yeah, that was the Marlowe interview.
The Marlowe interview. We have some more guests coming in. Please have a seat.
This is entirely going to be internet based, isn't it? This is like people who have no idea. They were like, Rucka, why should I go to that? And who's this Mimi person? But
right, definitely.
They're going to be so disappointed now when they realize who all else was here.
Right. So. Exactly, because it's interesting because I was like, oh, the panel, the con is just going to say the Mimi and Greg Show, and people are going to be like, who the fuck are Mimi and Greg?
Yeah.
But
that's
come
all right.
in. Hello. Yes.
Yesterday's Forged panel was billed as Pulp Friction, and God bless Ben Saunders, but I don't think he thought for a moment that people would read the subtitle, and so easily half the room was like, this doesn't seem to be about Quentin Tarantino. And it was like, it's not, but we'll try to sell you on the comic book we're doing anyway. So,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I'm guessing some of you out here do actually listen to the podcast, and that's why you found yourself to this room. Yes, I hope anyways.
And if not, you should.
And if not, you should. Not just for
not
Rucka Rants.
Not for me, but because Mimi has an amazing array of guests and interviews on from entertainment and politics and culture and science. And honestly, week to week, you're like, how did she get this person? And then she also is remarkably persistent. And as a result, if you're into comics, she'll eventually get just about everybody in the industry on the podcast. So, yeah.
Exactly. It's selfish. I basically love comics, and I've targeted all of my favorites and have pretty much gotten to talk to all of them, but now there are more because I've been exposed to so many more creators that maybe aren't headline creators that we all know about. There's so many amazing comic creators out there, and I guess I'll be podcasting forever at this point. Please note also, this is a hobby. I get paid zero. Like, this is a passion project that I started after 2016, ironically, so that I could rant, and then I found the best person to rant with. So yeah, well, it all really worked out.
This was a response to Trump. And I guess continues to be, and will continue to be so for a long time to come, I suspect.
Yeah.
We're always going to have something that pisses me off, so it's not like we're ever going to run out.
Yeah, he says, well, just call me next week, because basically I always have something to say, or I have an opinion. And I was like, really? Your opinion?
You really? Me?
What? And so, as you all know who are here, because you are loyal listeners, we could just kind of go on for the next 45 minutes, and you'll be like, what was that panel about? And you're like, I'm not sure.
Nothing.
They just spoke
about
for a while. It's tangents. It's called the Tangent Podcast. But we do actually have people that submitted questions.
Yes.
And because questions take a while, we want to get those started. So we have questions from some listeners in the Discord.
Okay.
And we're gonna get one of those out of the way.
Let's do that
so that we can make sure that our loyal listeners, and then we have some other questions that got submitted. So is Rob Papa here?
Yeah, I don't know where Rob is. I was looking for him.
Oh no! Okay, you missed your opportunity. You will be crying on this playback.
I'm hoping he's okay. Actually, I haven't seen him today. So
too much drink and draw last night.
I don't think that's not Rob's way to roll. So I'm hoping everything's okay.
I hope everything's okay too. But we will come back to that. It looks like there's a lovely human named Nicola here. We'd love to hear from Nicola. And
you gonna ask your question
right
live?
Up to the mic live. And don't be shy. Nicola Scott, everyone.
Hi.
Mimi told me to ask a question, and I just kind of like, I haven't thought of a fucking question. My question So I know the answer, but can you answer for the room? When are we getting back to Black Magic?
Oh, okay.
Come on up, Nicola.
I've been getting asked that a lot today.
Nicola Scott, everyone.
Did you? Is that your fault?
Hello, my friend.
Is that your fault? How are you?
Have people been asking you about
I've been.
today?
I've got
I
it.
think because we're both here.
Yeah.
You know, it's been.
We sold out of all of
quite a
our
while
hardcovers
since
today.
I've been here.
We got a fan back here
Yeah.
waving the Black Magic.
Yeah,
Love,
there
love.
you go.
Woo! Yes.
Thank you.
So Nicola, your answer. It's a good question.
If only we had someone who knew the answer to that
It really
here.
depends on sort of the health and well-being of the artist on the book, my co-creator, Nicola Scott. She's a little raw right now. She's been working very hard the last year and a half, 2 years. And I am hoping she'll get a chance to catch her breath, maybe starting sometime in late October, get 6 to 8 weeks to, recover, find her true self again. And then I'm hoping that, say, by mid-January, we'll be in a position where we can start moving forward. Now, that requires me, of course, to have a script ready for her. So one of the things that's going to have to happen during that cooling off period for her is that we're going to have a couple calls because we're already bouncing around some ideas for the comeback issue. That's really the thing that needs to be discussed. Everything else that follows that, we know the story. It comes down to execution. Does that answer your question?
From what I gleaned from that is that the delay in us continuing to work on this book is my fault. Lies, I say, like. No.
No, it's not your fault. It's Historia's
pretty
fault.
much- yeah. Yep. For a little part. But yes.
We can be.
That sounds about right. Yeah, we're getting back to it. Fingers crossed early next year.
And then the goal is when we resume to the end, ideally. Because the first hiatus we took was because we got presented with an opportunity that I think for both of us was sort of a once-in-a-lifetime chance.
Yeah.
It was to do Wonder Woman Year One.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then the second hiatus pretty much was, if I remember how you phrase it, we need to rebuild the steps up to the front of the house, and I've been offered an issue of Historia, and I was like, well, take it, because that's going to pay much better than anything I can do. So
Was that the next one?
I don't remember which one it was. I just know that
about me
we've had,
again.
no,
There's no blame.
I'm pretty sure you've been a very busy bee.
I have been a busy bee. The other thing that happens is that you and I don't communicate when this goes off, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
we each go off and then we're like, okay, they're doing their thing, so we don't get in touch with each other.
Yeah.
And then it becomes
It's
like
weird.
I've been sitting here for a month waiting for a script from you and I never got it, so I had to take work. And it's like I didn't know you were waiting for a script from me because I thought you were doing work. And
So when you are getting back on track, because clearly now together we've all decided it's going back on track, how quickly do you fall right back into the rhythm of collaboration?
The rhythm of collaboration is easy.
Yeah.
That's sort of a big part of the
it's
reason
appalling.
why.
It's appallingly easy.
Why Greg and I sort of enjoy working together so much and as often as we can is because, we've been talking and hoping to work together for
20
a good long time.
plus
Yeah,
years.
I think we probably met each other very close to 20 years ago. And it was a while before we finally got to do something together. And it was always sort of little bits and pieces and not quite the sort of chunky morsels that we were hoping for.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to do Wonder Woman Darkest Night or Blackest Night? It's like, not really, but
Sure.
if Nicola draws it, okay.
Great incentive. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, but
obviously.
that was the sell.
If I could draw,
And it was the self
right
too. It's like, here's Wonder Woman in a very un-Wonder Woman story.
Yeah.
Greg's writing it though. Okay, great.
All right.
Yep, that sounds exciting.
Well, we'll try to make it work.
Love this, love this. All right, we also have more questions. There's someone named Cully also in the audience, and being that we are talking about projects, I think this is a good time to hear from Cully.
Hey there, how you doing?
Hi. Where are you from, Cully?
Yeah.
I'm from Austin, Texas.
Yay!
My question is, do you have any horror stories about working with Nicola Scott?
Do I have any horror stories about working with Nicholas Scott?
That's not really my question.
This is a panel about me. Isn't it?
Surprise.
I like how you're shocked. It's like literally you came up here and every eye went to you. So I mean, as it should.
I'm wearing sparkly things.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
Good to go.
do you have
And
any
they're-
horror stories working with?
Oh, so many. God damn it, so many.
Share. I'm having a hard time.
Oh boy. In the meantime,
genuinely-
Cully, come on
up.
up
Yeah.
stage.
Oh, no.
Come on
Yeah,
down,
everybody.
contestant.
Next question, which is, are you going to be working with me anytime soon?
Oh.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I thought you were asking if Nicola was going to be working with
I was
you
like,
anytime
wow.
soon.
That's you.
Oh wow. Yes, so let's talk about this work collaboration.
Well,
What's going on, guys?
I have been working with you for the last 5 years.
Really? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's 5 years ago in Leeds. I stumbled upon you in a restaurant eating by yourself, all lonely and sad, and I was lonely and sad too, and we did.
I feel like I'm in the way right now.
Find with a
We
lot
didn't-
of Greg's collaborators is that that we tend to be angry about the same things that Greg's angry about. So we had the whole discussion about things that we were pissed off about.
This whole book is coming out of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
there's a lot of anger
Did you fall in love? It wasn't that we fell in love. It's like we fell back in love, right? Because we had done Pipeline last. We had done the Renee Helena backup in the Batwoman run that JH
For detective.
drew. Yeah, detective.
And it was about a year's worth.
Yeah, and that had been really good and a lot of fun. And we've always liked each other, and we've always
Yeah.
gotten along well.
And we did the convergence stuff, which I thought was a great wrap up for Pipeline, a great coda to that.
Right, and the only reason I did Convergence, because I had pretty much broken from DC at that point, was the approach was, would you do this thing if Cully draws it? And it was like, oh, you bastards.
And the approach that they took with me was, would you do this thing if Greg wrote
I
it?
feel a pattern coming on.
Do you
up
think?
here.
Do you think they gamed us a bit there?
Because I've been pretty vocal with them that I didn't really want to ever do that character if it weren't with Greg. That's
Yeah.
like the only condition I would have in working with that character. So
Yeah. So we ended up sitting around this table in this, and I think it was a Mexican restaurant.
Ooh,
Was it?
what'd you
Yeah,
eat?
I think it was a Mexican restaurant in Leeds.
yeah,
And as you've just heard, Cully is from Austin, so you can imagine that cuisine collision. And we were pissed off. It was 2018. Guess what we were pissed off about?
Right.
And guess how long it took us to get from, hey, how you been, to, oh my God. And we also got really pissed off at Comicsgate. That was the other thing.
That was another thing we were
so like
pissed
these
off
two
about.
things came together, and literally, I think one of us said, you know what we should do? We should do a story where the main character's initials are SJW.
yeah. That was your idea, I'm pretty sure.
Was it? Because from there it took 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're doing something called Ruby Actual. And it should hopefully come out next year, probably late in the
Next
year.
Yeah.
And all right, you need to
a lot of-
explain. You need to explain
So
that.
this is an announcement, by the way. You guys are
Yeah.
getting the
Yeah.
exclusive on a new project that's happening. And
Cricket.
I know, they're like,
Cricket.
what are they
Yeah.
talking about?
I
So
have no
basically,
idea.
I just got to meet Cully for the first time at this con, and already now he's made the mistake of telling me that, oh, you can push me along and
Yeah, you
keep
can bother
on,
me
you can
about-
let me know to keep on
producing
this
if you like.
project and help me keep that deadline. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
He does not know what he is.
No, it's one of those things where, like, it was what, 2018 is
Yeah,
what
it was
that we were
2018. It
talking
was-
about
yeah.
this. And then, life happens, and that's my excuse. And,
Yeah.
It does.
And it was some really rough life. Let's be frank.
Yes.
But
It was for the world. I mean, the pandemic.
yeah.
We all
No.
remember
A
it.
chunk of it, yeah.
But I think issue 2 is almost done, and issue 3 script is sitting on my computer right now.
Did you hear that?
I heard nothing.
Okay, because now that
hear
gets it
very
kicked
well,
over to
apparently.
you. So
Yeah.
what I understand is he writes it and then you.
I
Do this.
look at it for very long.
I consider it.
But look, I also would say this is probably the best thing we've ever done. Wouldn't you say? I mean,
I love it. I love your storytelling in it. I think it's delightful. Look, the quick version is this. If you've seen Taken, we're basically doing Taken, except the main character is a lipstick lesbian and she's 28. And I use lipstick lesbian in the loosest possible sense.
Yeah.
She is, she's a very, very dangerous woman who goes back to her hometown that she got thrown out of when she was 15 because she was gay. And in the 13 years she's been gone, she has, quote, acquired a certain specific set of skills that the people in the town have no idea she has acquired. And when they make the mistake of trying to kill her, you get the inevitable result of that, which is, I don't like you people anyway to begin with.
right.
But that sort of rough plot, one of the things that we were talking about, and this goes to Cully, we were talking a lot about the fact that there's all this bullshit about family values, right? And about middle American values. And this idea that, so apparently if you live in a city, you have no values, right? You don't love your children. You don't want them cared for, you don't want them educated, and you certainly don't have any convictions of an ethical or moral sense. And Cully, speaking from experience, basically had some choice words to say about that kind of hypocrisy.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in rural America. I grew up in northern Alabama in the 70s and 80s, and you know, there's all the, what you hear a lot from the people that I grew up with is, well, you know, those big cities, that's where all the crime is, that's where all the degeneracy is, that's where all this and that is. And I can
degeneracy.
I can tell you that that's not, I mean, there's no monopoly in the big cities for you know, crime. I mean,
apparently only gay people live in big cities?
Yeah.
No, gay people move to big cities because they get driven out of their homes.
Yeah.
Right? They are made uncomfortable where they are from in many cases. So yeah, in large part it is looking at that sort of hypocrisy, and then also bloody revenge. So.
Yeah.
Love it, revenge story.
I always like to call it the walking tall for the MAGA era.
All right, so we have that to look forward to. I'm calling it June 1st, summer of next year.
Oh,
good for you all.
So many dates on it.
Wait a minute. Let's check if that's a ship date, because if you've nailed it, I'm going to be really.
In the meantime, we have another question from Mike Henderson. We have a question.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike. Hi.
I would love to know when the script for Forge number 7 will be. I'm working on it.
Oh man!
Come on up, Mike.
That hurt. That was fair but painful.
Man, this is basically the project management panel.
It really is. It's like, it's nice to know you're working on something else, Greg. When's the script for the thing you're supposed to be doing now? I'm assuming we're going to be cueing my co-writer very shortly.
And he's going to answer it.
Well, no, this is not. I'm not. This isn't throwing Eric under the bus.
Okay.
This is to say that sometimes the writing duties on Forged, Eric and I break down the issue and then we split up the page loadout. And sometimes that loadout breaks very easily for us. It's like, okay, I know what I'm writing here and I know how to write it. And sometimes it doesn't. And the problem with 7 right now is that I think we screwed up our loadout. And I think we were asking each other not necessarily to write we weren't necessarily asking each other to write to our respective strengths. And all of the real world things aside, the result is that it's been a lot of hang fire on this issue. The issue is late. It also goes to say that of the artists up here, the 2 on my left are very quick when they get going. The one on my far right is very quick when he gets going, but takes much longer to get going. And that's not a value judgment. That's simply different writers, different artists all work in their way, right? And Nicola's not going to draw like Mike, and asking Nicola to draw like Mike is a mistake. Why would you do that? That's Nicola, right? And the same, so it goes all the way around. So in all honesty, yeah, I mean, we're caught dead to rights. By the time this airs, you will have all of it. But by the time...
So that answers your question then.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the Forge.
And it won't happen.
So just so you're clear.
Yeah, this is the Forge.
We have another question from Eric. Speaking of the Forge.
There you go, thank you.
Perfect cue-in.
Hello, long-time listener, first-time caller. So what would you consider, Mr. Rucka, the bigger challenge of your career? Dealing with the raw animal charisma of a Cully Hamner or a Mike Henderson, or the radiant beauty of a Nicholas Scott or a Troutman?
Oh, wow, that's... Jesus Christ.
It's entirely my fault, by the way, that issue 7 is late. I paid for weeks.
Right, but
swear to God, it will be done next week.
Okay, but see, we're doing this back and forth again because, like, I'm holding on a scene because I'm waiting for the lead into it that I shouldn't need to wait on, right? So this is the danger of the collaboration. And notice how I'm avoiding answering that question. You end up, like, when it works, it works beautifully, and when you hit like the speed bump, you wipe out hard. And so we're recovering on a wipeout. 8's going to be easier, and 9 will move even faster than that.
I think one of the hurdles we're facing too is we really knew how we wanted the series to begin, and we absolutely know how we want it to end, and we were kind of fuzzy on the middle, and we're moving into the middle.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of working our way through that maze right now.
And the middle is always the worst part of anything. Like when I was writing novels, it would be like, first 20,000 words tend to go really well. Last 20,000 words tend to go pretty well. That middle 40, it's like, it's really dark in here. And I hope I'm heading in the right direction. There's just no way to tell. So we figured out what the middle arcs are now, but it's like, okay, let's see if we can execute. And that's always the challenge. So.
Yeah, this is amazing. So those of you in the audience, I think we had hinted there'd be some Friends of Rucka happening up here, but
Better
it's
than
kind
enemies.
of amazing to have everybody up here together. And so we did have, we're gonna
you need to get them talking.
We're talking. So what I'm going to, you're not leaving. What I am going to do is one of our questions from the Discord that, Papa's not here, but I'm going to read that one. And then actually it was directed at Greg and I, his Mimi and Greg show. But since we have all these lovely humans up here, we'll let you answer as well. So he asked me what I would write about if I were a comic writer and what Greg would podcast about if he was a podcaster. And I'm kind of like, he's kind of already a podcaster. But to flip the question a bit, it's like, what maybe people don't know you're an expert about that you would like to talk about or share about?
Well,
so
you have to answer
you all
first.
can think about your answer. I feel like I'm a bit of an over-preparer and I don't like to step out of my comfort. So the obvious go-to would be some sort of martial artist, social justice activist person walking through life, and I feel like real life is often more interesting than fiction, and I'm not very creative in that regard of trying to make up stories, but anytime I share stories of my life, people think it's fiction, so it would probably be that. But I would need like amazing artists to help with that, and if we could find some around
luckily
here.
there are 3 here.
Luckily
so.
there's a few here, but that would be probably what I would do. So Greg, you first.
What would I podcast?
Podcast about, or if there was something that people don't know you have an expertise in that you could be like, oh, I could talk about this as an expert. Not that you think you're an expert, but maybe that you actually know a lot about that people are surprised about.
I was in Australia recently, and it has been mooted by a couple of my friends there more than once that we should do a Discworld podcast that we talk about a Discworld novel and we tie it to a bottle of whiskey. So we get together, we drink the bottle of whiskey while discussing the novel, and then at the end of each podcast, we decide what was better, the whiskey or the novel.
Fair enough. I think we have people who listen. Nicola?
I think I could happily do a podcast about most things because, give me a line and I'll just start talking for 45 minutes. But I think, in a world that was sort of more technically advanced when I was younger, like if I were a younger person now, I probably would have started a YouTube channel that does DIY everything because I'm a sort of jack of all trades kind of person. And it's like my best mate and I used to talk about sort of how we could get a TV show up where it's just me teaching people how to do basic shit, like how to make a pillowcase, how to recover a chair.
Tell everybody what you're going to do when you're finished drawing your current assignment when you get home.
Well, I'm going to reupholster one of my armchairs. I want to stain and polish my new bathroom vanity before it gets installed. I've got a lot of bathroom renovation stuff to do once the build is done. I want to get back into the garden because I haven't really done any gardening in about a year or two. Probably got some sewing to do, but I did my big sewing project as my lockdown project, which was a big hand applique / embroidered living room curtains, which are enormous, and it took me about 6 months, but it was really enjoyable.
All right.
So she's not lying when she says that.
I think you guys would all watch that YouTube channel, yes? Yes. You have subscribers already.
Yay, let's go.
Kind of in a similar vein, before I got my foot into comics, I was a carpenter. And I haven't had a chance to build anything in 18 years probably, and just like building kind of anything. Like
we should talk.
Yeah. And like, maybe just a podcast about building certain little things.
Love it.
From a shed to a shadow box, whatever, whatever it may be. I think that would be really enjoyable.
I would absolutely be there for that.
Yeah. Love. All right, Eric.
Certainly this will be no surprise to Greg, but I would probably want to do a podcast about typography and fonts and font making. I'm massively obsessive about typefaces. You pin me down someplace where we can talk for at least 45 uninterrupted minutes, and I will tell you why Helvetica is my favorite font. But until they revised it this last year, that Helvetica documentary film, which if you've not seen it, you should. Is astonishing, but I have many favorite fonts, and I could do a.
What's your least favorite?
That's a tough one.
Okay.
My top 5 are Papyrus, Comic Sans, Hobo. Hobo makes me angry. Makes my teeth hurt. Weirdly Century Gothic, which I used to like, but there's some subtleties inside the typeface that have revealed themselves to me over time that are like, oh, this is really inconvenient. I really don't like this. I'm not sure what my 5th one would be, because there's a number of them crowding for space. Oh, I do know. The fake Indiana Jones font that everybody uses to try and do an Indiana Jones style logo. Real friends don't let friends use that.
Fair enough.
There's some poor person left a card at our table in that font. And
he's a sweet kid. He's a really sweet kid, and I do not want to dissuade him.
No, but it was very clearly. It is important also to note at this point that Eric wears many hats. Writer is one of them. Graphic designer is a big one as well. So
awesome. Cully,
you're up.
I think what I would like to do is I would like to
have a working mic.
There we go. Working mic would be good. I think what I would like to do is a weekly roundtable, meet the press style discussion with comic book professionals in which we are not allowed to discuss comics.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Because I don't know if you know, comic book people are very interesting people and have lots of opinions about things that have nothing to do with the business.
Oh, we should.
That's a great idea.
I'd like to have you guys on my political chat show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Which is why we often tangent.
All right, let's do that.
The amount of episodes Greg and I actually talk about comics from our 60 episodes might be
3.
3 to 5. I mean, on occasion, we'll make sure we plug in there for all of the projects up here, the Forge, Black Magic, and all of the previous, but very imminent, soon, exciting new project. So this is a great idea, and you have a bunch of takers already for this roundtable. So very exciting.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Stay tuned.
We could fund the hell out of that.
I know.
Ooh, okay.
I know you cackle.
Since I'm trying to look out because I invited a lot of friends of Rucka, so if I'm missing someone, please come up and ask. But also, we do want to have Q&A from anyone here that did have a question that came here intending to ask one. Otherwise, I do have
Of anybody up here.
Anyone up here. Because this is a pretty rare opportunity, and I don't think those of you here were expecting all of these.
This is our gift to you. You can ask all of these people questions.
Yeah, you hear us all the time.
Or flee the room. Yes, you can do that too.
One guy just left.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, I don't want to ask a question. Don't make eye contact.
Oh, wait a minute. I want to see the shirt. You're wearing the Choo Choo Dance shirt?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Were you there when they added
The third Chew?
Thank you, by the way. You're like the second person that's noticed it.
I fucking love it. I got to wear my Ritos shirt tomorrow.
Oh, I've got one too.
Yeah, all right. Go on.
So I'm a meteorologist by trade and occupation. So I've always had these random questions to ask. What are your favorite weather events? Yes, I am that.
Favorite weather events.
Yes.
All right, we're going to start over there and go this way.
As a transplanted East Coaster, the thing I miss most weather-wise about the East Coast is thunderstorms, which we just don't get out here, or when we do have them, I assume a significant statistical proportion of the state is on fire. I would love thunderstorms where I'm not worried about the world burning. That's what my favorite is.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
He stole mine.
Mike? He stole yours.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't get them
same.
like I had when we were kids.
So no
We
thunderstorms.
do get them.
You get them, yeah?
Oh yeah, we live up a mountain, and when it cracks, it's real close.
Yeah, you get them. They only last for maybe about 10 to 20 minutes if you're lucky. So.
Yeah, we do like to count to see if they're getting closer or further away. But yeah, it's like it'll shut down the electricity in the area. And that's fine, because it's like, let's get out the candles and just watch the rain and the lightning and listen to the cracks, and they're fucking loud.
I've got a couple, and they're all vaguely problematic. I grew up in Central California, just inland from the coast, so I still love snow. And I like how Portland used to get snow, which is sometimes once every couple of years, and then it would be a big snow event, and the kids would stay home, and you'd get to stay inside, and you'd put a fire in the fireplace, and it's hot chocolate, and quiet, and beautiful, and I always liked that. Now, Eric, I can tell without even looking at it, is twitching because he grew up in upstate New York where snow is the enemy and never left, right? Yeah. So, but I love snow. And I would love it less if I lived in Minnesota. And I know this, but I also like ice storms. For the same reason. Ooh. I don't like being out in them because I'm not an idiot. But again, the way the world changes after an ice storm, and you look outside and everything is turned to glass, and no, you can't go outside because you will slip and die. Because it turns out ice is really hard. But yeah.
And sound is different.
Yeah.
Everything sounds different.
Yeah.
I love that.
I those are the moments I really love those things.
Okay.
You gotta get to Kelly.
We're going down. I'm gonna answer too. Yep. So I'm not sure it counts, but being in Florida, apologies on behalf of everyone on behalf of Florida. I always have to apologize for my state, but it's just really hot, and I don't know if wind counts as a weather event, but we don't get any of it ever in Orlando in the middle, and it's so hot and humid every moment of the day. So wind, but we get a ton of thunderstorms. So much so, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's lightning all the time that they make the kids stay at school until it's been 15 minutes or 20 minutes between the lightning.
Last strike.
30 minutes in Orlando, you have the Eiffel Corridor, which
Yes.
is essentially the lightning belt. Born and raised in Florida.
Okay,
So-
lightning belt. Yes, lightning belt. So you want to get some thunderstorms come on to Orlando. But yeah, it's like crazy. And taking off to come here, there was a lightning storm, and I actually videoed it, so I can show you. There was lightning going off in the distance, obviously, because we were on the plane, but lots of lightning. So wind, please.
Oh, okay. I used to also like ice storms and snowstorms, but I live in Austin, which means that when that happens, there's like, you become
Well,
like
it's
a pretty
Texas.
dark ages kind
Yeah.
of existence because we have our own grid and all that implies. But I grew up in northern Alabama, so we have yearly tornadoes, like rashes of tornadoes. So like, I am fascinated with tornadoes. There was a documentary about an event that happened when I was a child. I think it was 1973 or 4. It was called Day of the Killer Tornadoes. There were something like 19 or 20 in one night.
Yeah, super outbreak.
Yeah. And I have intense memories of
He's a real
He
meteorologist.
actually knows his stuff.
He's not lying.
He knows what he's talking about.
card carrier.
He's
yeah.
card-carrying meteorologist.
So
The
yeah,
National Weather Service in Portland.
Yeah.
This is my thing.
You're a NOAA guy. You're a NOAA guy.
I find them at once terrifying and also fascinating. It's like that meme you see of the guy from Godzilla who's like, "Let them fight." So that's me.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your
Thank
question.
you.
That
Great
was fantastic. All right, we have time for another question. If anybody has one, make your way up to the mic. Otherwise, I do still have some here to ask from our online audience. So, okay, I'm going to keep going. Who is your favorite villain or antagonist in fiction?
Me?
Well, I'm asking everyone now. So it was, of course, directed at you, though, because it's your podcast.
Let's work
our
down the
podcast.
list.
We'll work down the list.
Let's start with Cully
Let's start
this
with Cully
time.
this time. We'll go this way.
Khan. No, that's actually probably I like
Khan?
Khan a lot. I think that's a good villain.
Khan. Okay.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
Star Trek too.
that's actually a good answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to well, no, I actually think they left the Discord. But I still love Two-Face. I think Two-Face is probably my favorite.
I like the Two-Face that you and I did in Convergence.
I just think that there's so much to be done with that character. And I don't think anybody has ever done him, including myself, properly as a villain. Like, the great thing about all the Batman villains is their pathos. It's the same thing we ended up with Barbara Ann, too, in Cheetah. It's, you know, like, it took me way too long to figure out Cheetah, and now that I've figured her out, it's like, ooh, you could do a lot. Ooh, I would like that. So, yeah.
Okay. Nicola.
Oh, look, there's a time when I would have said the Joker is the ultimate villain, but he's been overexplored and it's just not interesting anymore. Man, I don't know. Moriarty's an interesting one.
Yeah. I'll take
Sort of
that.
anyone that's a really good counterpart to their hero is always sort of like the best version of what you're going for.
Yeah.
I think similarly, a character that's been a little bit watered down now, but I would have said so years ago, be Magneto.
Yep.
I think really works for me.
So I just want to clarify, literary villains?
It says fiction,
Okay.
so I feel like this can be anything.
Where were you going with that?
I was gonna go with Moriarty actually.
Yeah,
But in
yeah.
light of Nicola's answer, I'm gonna revise that to Ernst Stavro Blofeld. I like him.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. It was pretty open. So.
The novel version, not the latest, not the one in the
Oh,
movies.
God, no.
Well, I do like some of the movie ones.
Right, I'm talking about
The
the
latest
Dan
one.
versus, what was it, Inspector?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Christoph Waltz.
That was a
Waltz
terrible
novel, but
movie.
yeah, no, he was
Yeah.
Blofeld.
Yeah. I'm with Nicola though. It's like anytime it's a villain, but then you sometimes are rooting for the villain, and you go back and forth, and it's just really complex. It's kind of hard. I mean,
I like
when
the villain has a point.
Yes, and then you
Yeah,
find
the best
yourself
ones are.
conflicted. Like, am I the villain? Wait,
No.
am I the bad guy now? Because I'm rooting for them a little bit.
Thanos was right. Can we choose which half?
Right,
I feel like Mimi is going to be my favorite villain.
You would not be the only one to say this. I have a kung fu student in the audience, and he's like, I'm not going to answer that question. But, we have less than 5 minutes, so this whole wrap up thing. But I'm wondering if next time we're live, will it be from Australia?
I don't know.
Don't look at me.
You live there.
I'm pretty sure that was a question directed at you, Greg.
I said I don't know.
Yes. So we'll see. But this is really exciting.
I need more money to make that happen.
All right, so everyone go out. The table's out there. You can go pick up the Forge, the Lazarus fans.
Most of the people in this room did their part at the table today.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah, it's like, I've seen
we're
you
all very grateful.
Yes, yes.
We sold out of all the Forge trades today. So
Awesome.
and sold out of and my black and the Black Magic hardcovers. All of those are gone now
They're
too.
gone.
So you guys.
Great. So if you just buy everything else, Greg can take off tomorrow. He doesn't
I'm not sure that's the incentive they need. I mean,
he needs a break. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's been a while since the last live con. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I did 2 shows last year. They were in Poland and in England, and it's been 4 years since I've done this show, and I think that was the last show I did. So
Yes.
it's been a while.
It's been a while, but I was honestly a little apprehensive because there's so many people and I get very nervous. But what's been amazing is just seeing how this brings everyone together. Just even here on stage, right? Like we're all together right now, and it is comics, culture, diversity. It's just beautiful. I've seen the cosplayers. I love how we've all come together around something universal, and having everybody up here, Friends of Rucka, thank you so much for joining us. This has been absolutely wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Please visit everybody's booth. Okay, there's lots. Kelly, where are you located today?
I'm on row H at the Essential Sequential block.
And social media things, do you do that?
I've got a Twitter, I've got an Instagram, Cully Hamner, pretty easy to find.
And Blue Sky.
And Blue Sky and Threads and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And Nicola, where are you today and where can they find you?
I'm at C4. I like that one. It's easy to remember. And I'm Nicola Scott Art on everything, but I'm rarely
On anything.
doing anything because that's all a nightmare. Except for my reels. Watch my reels. They're hilarious.
Well, and your YouTube channel coming soon. Yes.
Yeah.
Mike?
Next career move.
I'm next to Greg and Eric at I2. I'm also on Blue Sky and Instagram. It's Mike S. Henderson.
Beware, on Blue Sky, there's another Mike Henderson that frequently gets looped into conversations.
Yeah, the S is crucial. Remember that. I tagged him by accident. So.
I am intermittently on social media. I am at IO1 with Greg. I'm on social media I'm still vaguely on Twitter. I've more or less locked the account. Mercury Eric on most social media except Facebook, which is just my name, Eric Troutman.
Awesome. I am at Sifu Mimi Chan, and I don't have a table here, but you might find me hanging out and bothering these guys at their tables. I'm also at the Visible Women booth quite often for Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Visiting, helping.
I'm a helper, so yes, I'm around all weekend, but this has been super awesome to have this live podcast with all of you. I will plug our Wonder Woman Historia panel tomorrow. Yeah, make sure to come to that. It's going to be epic.
It is, and much fuller than this one.
It's on the main stage.
Yeah.
So please show up because we definitely want the seats to look full. We have every creator here of that project. It's really going to be special. And thank you all so much for joining me. Eric, Mike, Nicola, Cully, the Mimi and Greg Show Live, everybody. And that's a wrap. We'll see you guys. Bye. Have fun at the con. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Please subscribe and rate my podcast on your platform of choice and leave a review. You can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to help keep this podcast going. Follow me and interact on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.